there is a strong commitment that we have to give it back to the farming communities, because they look at institutions, academia, researchers, and the industry for transforming their lives. I so wish that we become a more safe country, and of course, we have transited to a much more stronger economy in India, because you cannot take your position back home and be ingenuine at home, right? So that is actually a trait which I think distinguishes individuals from the rest of the leaders. And failure to the extent that it had a financial implications on the organization. But in good times or in bad times, our current matters a lot.
So in the previous episode, you mentioned that you introspect and that you're grateful for where you are in life. So my question to you is, are you a spiritual person?
When we talk of spirituality, I break that into three: the mythology, the philosophy, and the rituals. I very strongly believe in the mythology and philosophy, but I have less belief on the rituals.
Okay.
Rituals will mean that before leaving the home, you light a diya in the mandir, you put an agarbatti. Every Saturday, you go to a temple. I am not a firm believer of rituals, and I don't do that.
Okay.
But I am very strongly embedded in the mythology and the philosophy part of the spirituality. In turn, spirituality also means how you deal with people, how you treat with people, how you support people who come to you in times of their need. I personally feel that I am blessed, and I do it very, very religiously, spiritually, that people I touch with, people I meet with, I treat them with respect, I engage them with equal empowered environment, while rituals is something that I would tend to ignore in times. You will not see me very often in a mandir or lighting a diya every single day. But the philosophy and mythology is something that is I would follow 100%.
Wow, that is the beauty of our Sanatan culture, right? There are no restrictions in who you choose to believe or follow. Um, all right, so you mentioned having met Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So could you share with us your experience?
I'm so fortunate to have met him 4 or 5 times in my life.
Wow.
And when I was driving with him, and I was such a great honor and privilege, and he asked me, "What do I do?" Typically when somebody of a stretcher asks you that, you would try to say, "Well, I'm so and so, this is my job role." And then he said, "No, I'm asking you, what do you do?" And he repeated that 3 times. That got me thinking, maybe something is missing in what I should actually respond, which will satisfy a person like him. Then I said, I actually work for the farming communities, trying to understand what are their evolving needs, how we can create an impact, how we can transform their lives. And then he said, this is exactly what I wanted to listen. Now, the lesson that I learned is, whatever you are in life, you may be A, B, C, you could be a CEO, you could be vice presidents, and so on and so on. But unless your contributions are worthy, life is meaningless. And this is what I learned from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
Wow, that is incredible. I'm a huge fan of him as well. Now, coming back to your story, sir, was there any leadership trait that you wish you developed or you had as you began your journey, which is something that you would like to see future leaders work on?
See, first of all, I'm very happy that I'm in a very noble profession of agriculture because it has been significant in history and it will remain significant in future. And all we are trying to do is transform the lives of the farming communities so that they also have better quality of life. They have access to all the modern things. And that can happen if they are more productive, if they are more profitable, their cost of operation reduces. So that way, I'm very happy on the profession that I am in. But looking at the young generation, the young generation is very different. They are very tech savvy. They are very analytical. They are very sharper. Now, in order to keep them engaged, you have to continuously upgrade your skills also. Otherwise, they will not look upon you either as a leader or as a mentor or as a person where they can confide and seek guidance.
Absolutely.
And that becomes challenging at times because from a from a perspective of agriculture to being high tech in several areas, the world is very, very different from one when I was a little. And I never could imagine there'll be an instrument called cell phone, which will not only get you to do a video call with your mother who stays outside the country, with your
Right.
children who are also outside the country, with your friends, but will also keep you engaged with taking photographs and things like that. And you can Google things that you want. So information is very handy. I never thought it will happen. But having said that, I think it's very important to remain current. And it's important to remain current because you need to engage with young, old, future generations as well. To bridge that gap, a couple of things that I have further acquired. One is the cooking skills. And I would say I can cook any kind of a food for any number of people. And I can
Wow.
also say that the food that I cook and serve is best in class. People,
That's wonderful.
yes. And from Chinese to Italian to Indian to South Indian to North Indian, every type. And I do end to end, like from cutting to cooking to serving to plating, everything. That also, I think, eases me in my stressful times, and it connects me to a part of the younger generation and older generation with a very different kind of a bond altogether. So these are the traits and skills I would tell people that just don't remain professional in the professional world that you are. Because the world is changing, people look upon you. There are several things that we can do, bring to the table for better engagement, better, world for tomorrow. And so much wish I had more time to do things like that. But then I also go to villages, meet people, talk to them, cook in villages sometimes. So there's a lot that can happen over food. So I chose that path.
So, what I hear you say is that even in the professional world, you bring forward all of yourself, not just your skills and competencies, but your passions as well that make uniquely you, right? And that itself is the first step in being an authentic leader. Wonderful insight, sir. Now, I want to ask you a question around women. And since you support women, you must be aware that a lot of them leave workforce at a very crucial stage in their careers for whatever reasons. And today, we don't see as many women leaders as we would like to. So, when there are debates and demands of reservations on one side and equality on the other, I feel as a woman that my cause is not being heard or understood. Your thoughts on this, sir, and also a message to all the aspiring women out there.
No, this is a very sensitive and a very question, and I will give you my perspective on this. For the last 16 years, I'm staying with four women: my mother, when she comes to, most of the time she stays in Singapore, but whenever she's in India, she stays with me. So my mother, my wife, and my two daughters, and that has helped me understand the women very closely, because three generations,
Right.
senior, same age, the young generation. And one more thing, when my father was alive, and I had these two little babies growing up in the family, he said, "Beta, एक चीज का हमेशा ख्याल रखना कि परवरिश में कोई ऐसी कमी ना रहे कि कल को ये दोनों बेटियां सोचें काश ये लड़का होती।" तो वो बात मेरे दिमाग में, नॉट ओनली विद इन द फैमिली बट व्हेन आई मीट विमेन आउटसाइड, वो बात मेरे दिमाग में रहती है कि हाउ डू यू हैंडल, टॉक टू देम, एनकरेज देम, कि दे शुड फील वेरी प्राउड ऑफ व्हाट दे आर. It's always there at the top of my mind, and I'm very sensitive towards it. My mother taught me a lot, my wife taught me a lot, and my children also taught me what this young generation wants. But I tell you, the women also should do a little bit of their role in order to grow in the organization. There's a very old saying, to achieve something that you don't have, you have to do something that you have never done. एक कहावत है.
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
Now, everybody wants to grow, and I think we should encourage people to grow, right people to grow, who are seen as leaders, where they can help the next generation to grow. We should always do that. उसमें आपके कल्चर, आपके वैल्यूज, आपका काम करने का तरीका, आपकी थिंकिंग, it's a bundle of things.
Yes.
Now, many a times I've seen that, well, I cannot do this because of this reason. Now, when we talk of equality, I think these are the things that also need to be noticed and worked upon. When you grow because you are experienced differently. It's not because you are a subject matter expert, because you can bring more to the table besides the knowledge that you are competent in. And that comes in because you have to leave a few things, learn a few things. My message to the aspiring women, and also I have learned it from some of these leaders, that they have made that trade-off. No, I have to leave a few things because I want to be a role model for others.
Right.
And we have many such women within the organization, in the society, and many women leaders in the world. So we have to truly see how they have navigated through. What are some of the things that they have left, learned, and grown? And we all should be prepared as women colleagues to find and navigate through the environment in a way that we become the first choice for leaders. I will keep this, not do this, and yet I want to grow, probably needs a rethink. कई बार ये आर्ग्यूमेंट होता है कि विमेन बलशाली नहीं है, as compared to men. लेकिन मैं एक बात बताना चाहता हूं, बल हमेशा लड़ना सिखाता है, लेकिन बुद्धि हमेशा जीतना सिखाती है.
Absolutely.
तो बुद्धि सबको भगवान ने, या हम, बुद्धि जेंडर बायस नहीं रखती है. बल भले ही जेंडर बायस रखता हो, लेकिन बुद्धि नहीं रखती है, और जीतने के लिए बुद्धि की आवश्यकता है. The world has become much more sensitive and a much better place to live as compared to the past. And let the past not drive our future. We have to keep that, because history is something that we have to keep in our minds. But the past experience will not be repeated because the world is changing. Two things that one should keep always in mind: your family values and your cultural heritage with you, and the world is yours, I would say. Yet, small little message I think I would like to leave for all my dear women colleagues, to the young women engineers and doctors and economists, and there are now so much diversified fields. People are there in the service industry कि अपनी वैल्यूज कल्चर को साथ में लेके चलो, जिंदगी आपको एक दूसरे मुकाम पे ले जाएगी.
Thank you so very much, sir. In spite of having such a busy schedule, you have given me time, and I'm honored, and it's truly a delight to speak to you, to listen to your wisdom, your stories. It's been an absolute honor for me.
Likewise, thank you so much. And I so much feel proud and happy to talk to a person like yourself. You are one leading example of what women can do. And I'm sure many will get inspired with what you're doing and what you're contributing. So, my best wishes, not only to you, but to all the women on earth.